Well, the New Age, South Africa's newest daily paper, celebrates its second anniversary today. This at a time when conditions are expected to remain tough in the print industry due to the weakening economy and cost-cutting measures as well. Daily newspapers continue to decline with several sharp drops in total circulation. And joining us for a look at the local print industry is Nazeem Gupta from the New Age itself. Thanks so much, Nazeem, for joining us today. Let's get straight into how you're managing to survive 2 years on. I've been reading through your commentary. You found resonance amongst readers and advertisers alike. What sells? What's the formula?
I think what sells really is an understanding of a market that's changed quite significantly. We're very fortunate in that we have a shareholding from the Times of India, the world's largest English language newspaper, which is growing. And it's growing through innovation, it's growing through changes in markets, it's growing through really innovating every day, getting up every day and saying, how can I do things differently? And we've tried to learn
Nazeem,
from that in terms of content mix and everything else. I think
Sorry,
that's
Nazeem,
really
I thought you'd finished. Happy birthday, first of all. Congratulations. There's two questions I want to ask first up. Who reads the New Age? What's the sort of typical profile of a New Age reader? And secondly, are you making money?
The last month we made a bit of money. Previous months we made a bit of money as well. So we're slightly in black ink. I think it's turned to a purple as we move along financially into positive territory. Who reads it? We've just analysed the latest market research through AMPS, the industry's standard. The readership is quite top end. I would want to call it almost a black business day and running slightly deeper into star territory. So it's a really top end mid-market newspaper.
How exactly are you innovating? You've said that you've had to be innovative through the past 2 years. What exactly are you doing differently?
I think if you look at the front page, and I'll start with the front page, we'd probably have 7 or 8 stories on page 1, where most newspapers go with 2 or 3 very long stories. We've full colour on every page. We've set trends in terms of the width of our newsprint. We've set trends in terms of the kind of advertising we take, which has been quite exciting. So we've shaken the market. We've set trends in terms of perhaps being very different in terms of finding balance in news, rather than trying to celebrate what's negative, but trying to find what is very positive. And this week, for instance, the public protector pronounced on the Minister of Agriculture, and we were quite firm in reporting on that. But the next day we really did the human story, and what's it like to be a minister? What's it like to be a single mom with 2 kids? And what does it mean for you when you have such a hectic schedule? And perhaps one needs to understand both sides of the story to come to some kind of conclusion.
Nazeem, it's very interesting to have a look at the media industry, not just in South Africa, but worldwide, and the trends that are emerging. I look at the radio industry quite a lot, and with the sort of proliferation of internet radio stations springing up, and also the terrestrial stations, a lot of the really successful ones are those that don't try to appeal to everybody, but appeal to a niche sector of the community, a particular sector of the community that speaks a certain language or in a certain geography, almost like a community radio station type of approach. They're doing well. Is that what print has to do in order to survive? Not please everybody, but focus on a specific area?
I think print's going to need to look at the bulge, as I would call it, is people with common outlook, common views on going forward, a common understanding of what they want to achieve. In terms of our own understanding of that, we talk about really the decision makers and those who aspire to be decision makers. So we're going to look at LSM 7 to 10. People who are very career orientated, people who are focused on the future of this country, people who've really decided Australia is not an option, South Africa is the option, and we have to make it work. And want to understand that we actually have things that we have to fix, but we also have fixed a lot along the way.
It's interesting that you mentioned earlier that you have a choice in terms of selecting what advertising you take. It's interesting that you can afford to be selective when many say that it's hard to get that advertising spend coming through.
No, I don't think I said that. I think we'll take whatever advertising we can get.
Okay, so
we won't do anything that's illegal, we won't do anything that's immoral. I think what we've tried to do with advertisers is to offer them a platform that's very different. We've tried to offer them a platform where they can experiment with some creativity. Because newspapers today say you can have this block or you can have that block. What we've tried to say to them is with our modern systems, and we've really set the trend in terms of systems we put in place. Just choose what you want to do with our paper and let's see where we can make it work for you.
Perfect.
Nazeem, we're not here to talk about your editorial policies, but there's one paragraph that I have to read to you. I couldn't resist it. It says here, the newspaper is unashamedly pro-South African, which is fantastic, and in its coverage of the country's institutions and government, but critical of them when their actions discriminate or disadvantages the common man. Is that the only time you would be critical? For example, if a certain person in public office was lazy or inefficient, but that is not discriminating against the common man, would you ignore that inefficiency?
I think my understanding would be that if we were to have corruption, we'd be acting in the best interest of the country to expose it and to try and deal with it in any way we can. If we have public service that's not working, it's our job to help make it work through exposing that inefficiency. So it certainly goes much broader than that, Lindsay.